Know your enemies. That's my subject. Plural. That means that we got more than one. I was partially mentioned by enemy by Brother John in your answering. Rather than the knowledge of the enemies, real or imaginary one, is very important, not only for individual, but also for every nation which want to stay free and independent. Many countries spend a lot of money, effort, and different resources to know more about potential enemies. And war is going on in Ukraine. We know how intelligence and information is important. We have also in the Bible examples of using spies to explore land before entering it. And typical and best known to us Bible story from the time of Israelite when they left Egypt and under leadership of Moses traveled to the promised land. The Moses sent 12 spies and they explored the land of Canaan. And later on Joshua sent spies when he took over after Moses. So knowing enemy plans is very important, is the key to success in any war, competition, even personal work to achieve any goals in our life. And dear brethren, we as a Christian, God's people, we have the powerful enemies which will do everything to change course of our consecrated life. Let us rather be researchers, not spies, to see what enemies we have and how we should be ready for them. Not to welcome them. Some enemies we need to love, but those enemies we need to avoid, as each of us wants to gain everlasting life and not to lose it. The Bible proves that we have three main enemies. There is the Satan, world, and flesh, or we may call our body. But today we have only time to talk about the first enemy, Satan. About the Satan we read in the Bible in 1 Peter 5:8-9. It states like this: your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour, whom resist steadfast in faith. Manna from September 28 tell us this: Satan is not only the enemy of mankind in general, but especially of the Lord's people, and that's because their loyalty to God. Satan desires to destroy their life, and nothing gives him more pleasure than destruction of the new heart, mind, and the will. And Brother Russell called Satan the arch enemy of God's people. This world we are living in is his empire. So we cannot be ignorant and think that he forgot about us and he will let us live free. Let us remember that he is the enemy of God. He hates humanity, especially God's people. He also hates the righteousness. Apostle Peter gives us advice: be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. Some of us, and I may include myself, we are retired. We may say, well, I'm staying home with doors and windows closed. I don't need to worry so much. Brethren, the Satan will not come to us like old Santa Claus through the chimney. But truly, brethren, each time when we turn on TV or the computer, he is in our house. We can install antivirus protection in our computers, but do we have anti-Satan protection on it? We may say yes, no, it depends. It depends of what? It depends if we install Bible, if we install literature, if we install all concordances, we have it. And this protection is not from Norton or McAfee, is from the Bible. And James 4:7 repeats pretty much the same line: resist the devil and he will flee from you. The 1 Peter 5:9, whom resist steadfast in the truth. Jesus mentioned that Satan speaks lie and only lie, and there is no truth in him. He was the liar from the beginning, and he is the father of lies. And I bet somebody sends him greetings because we got Father's Day. He conceived Mother Eve. He told her that she will not die. That was first Satan's lie. Many people today, as well in the past, do not believe that Satan exists. Like old time Soviet Union cosmonaut, he stated, I was in space and I didn't see God. So that means God does not exist. I didn't see Satan, so the Satan is not exist. I can tell you, brethren, I wash my hands, so there is no bacteria on it, and you almost believe me. No, that's very naive way of thinking. Apostle Paul tells us in Ephesians 6:12 that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against the powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in the high places, invisible. Well, we may have some question and we may ask, how old is Satan? Why did he become so evil? Was he always evil? How he influences our lives? Is he truly a ruler of this world we are living in? First, facts from the Bible tells us about his personality. In the Bible, we can find many passages where we can have proof about Satan's personality. For example, Job, I will quote only, Job 1:6-12 and 2:1-7, Zechariah 3:1-2, Matthew 12:24-26, John 8:44 and Genesis 3:1-7. Yes, brethren, Satan has personality and was created perfect. And Satan was not his original name. Until he sinned and let the race go into sin, his name was Lucifer, light bearer, Isaiah 14:12. In nature and rank, he was as a cherub, one of the highest of the angels, how Ezekiel tells us, 28:14-16. Bible dictionary from Hebrew tells that Satan means devil, even evil demon. Satan signifying an adversary, an enemy, or accuser. Most commonly, Satan is taken for the devil or chief of the evil spirits. Is also used as those adversary of Christians and Christianity. And again, we got Father's Day. So as a fathers and mothers, you probably watch with your children 101 Dalmatian. So bad character in this cartoon was the lady called Cruella de Vil, French name which expressed her evil attitude. Brother Johnson explained in his writing expression of Ezekiel 28, verse 12. We read, "Thou sealest the sun." It reflects to the fullness of his perfection, intellectually, full of wisdom, and physically, morally, and religiously, since the world's beauty refers to his physical, moral, and religious qualities. He was such even for a while after he was made the guardian angel to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. Yes, brethren, Lucifer came from the creative hand of God, and he was good. And God did not make him so that he had to sin. God, in the contrary, gave him the disposition favorable to righteousness and averse to sin. This naturally raises the question, how then could he have sinned if there were no sin in the world and no sinful disposition in his makeup as he came from the creative hand of God? We may say a similar story. What was wrong with Judas? He got the best company available in the world, Jesus and 11 disciples, but he failed. In Epiphany, volume 17, chapter 3, we read, the possibility of his sinning lie in the fact that he was given liberty of choice. As the one of the highest of the angels, he had his subordinates, some of the other angels, from whom by divine arrangement he received the honor and obedience due to his station in relation to them. It was proper for him both to desire and to receive such honor, and as well as obedience in harmony with God's order. But it seems that Lucifer permitted his mind to crave for more honor and power. He asked, and his desire was for something bigger than God arranged for him to have. This craving grew gradually in him and made him want always more and more. Satan, through his growing ambition, seen the human family a possible dominion from which he could gain further honor and obedience. Finally, his ambition became the controlling quality of his heart that prompted him to lead unfallen mankind into sin as the only way by which his ambition could be gratified. Bible proves that Satan gradual fall into sin. When we take under consideration Isaiah 14, 13 to 14, we read, "Thou hast set in thy heart's desire, unholy ambitions brought it about. I will ascend into heaven. I will make myself an exalted ruler. Further, Satan said, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will become the king over the angels. I will sit also upon the mount, kingdom, mount of the congregation, in the side of the north, which is reserved for the God. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will put myself out of reach of all trouble. I will be like the Most High. I will found an independent empire in which, as a God's rival, I will be supreme and I will be his equal. Well, there is the proverb, if someone says A, must say B. Whoever concedes an inch to wrong for advantage will have to go further in wrong to secure his end. Satan has gone farther than B. He has now proceeded as far to Y, and at the end of millennium, he will go to Z and the full limit of evil, whereupon his destruction will come, as we read in Hebrew 2:14. This world we are living now, Satan's empire. So how he constituted it? He founded this empire in two phases, invisible phase and visible phase. In invisible phase, we can name some fallen angels under his leadership and under his control. And earthly phase consists with oppressive governments, aristocracy, false religion. And as a visible representative of his ruling, fallen angels are keeping those visible under control. Satan has set forth the principle of divine right. He put in order divine right of the rulers, divine right of aristocrats, and divine rights of clergy. And at the same time, he added to this supporting doctrine. Doctrine like the dead are not dead, but alive. They have become spirits and as such are conscious, and they are either in bliss or in the torments. There's three forms of the doctrine of divine rights, and supporting doctrines were calculated to make the masses blindly debating and obeying, were calculated to keep the masses indoctrinated with the error. So Satan knew that he could deceive the race on these three subjects. He could deceive them into believing that certain other errors were true, and certain truths were false, and certain wrongs were right, and certain right were wrong. So mixed match. Of course, the doctrine of divine rights, as Satan has planned and calculated, to keep human race subject to Satan since the flood. Well, Satan still is using his human representatives, also selfish and hungry for the power like he. He's working harder to control and keep people in submission and obeying. Oh, how the prophetic are those verses from 2 Corinthians 11, 14, 15. No wonder that Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. It's not surprisingly if his servant also masquerades as a servant of righteousness. their end will be what they action deserve. What is interesting that Satan in his empire kept the civil law, guarding the specially leaders of the state, religion, and aristocracy, or like we call now capital. Satan was afraid of anarchy. He likes order. Only very recent times, thanks to Jesus' presence from 1874, when growing education, access to books, studies, travel, and much more are waking people throughout the Christendom, the army of the Lord consistently is growing little fatter than few years, and fatter and faster. An empire based on such a principle, Satan's empire, the Bible calls it the power of darkness, sin and error. And in Colossians, we have who had delivered us from power of darkness and had translated us into the kingdom of his dear Son. The Satan empire, the world we are living now, is called in the Bible the kingdom of darkness. Dear brethren, it is impossible to doubt that Satan's empire is founded on and supported by errors. And by this, he had worked mightily in the hearts of children of disobedience. Throughout this territory of his empire. Ephesians 2:2 says, wherein in the time past ye walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience. Another quote from Epiphany, volume 17. The course of Satan's empire is marked by evil work and word. Corrupt indeed have been the majority of the rulers, aristocrats, capital, and clergy of this empire. The history of the present even world presents a succession of events with war, revolution, murder, destruction, lust, cruelty, conquest, oppression, degradation, unhappiness, misfortune, death, and persecution, especially of the God's people. Brethren, there is one present truth which I strongly recommend you to read. PT 541, January-February 1976. This is by Brother Jolly, our 57th annual report. We read, two top banks had to be taken over through government action. Two of the strongest corporations had to be saved through government financial help. The dollar has been devaluated twice and is facing possible further deflation. The nation leading city, New York, is in deep financial plight and is rapidly losing its credit rating with far-reaching efforts. The new media have been filled with exposure on many alarming conditions in the USA. Further, we read, the Federal Reserve Act. The law created the Federal Reserve System, the central banking system of the United States, passed on December 23, 1913. December 23. It was signed into law by President Woodrow Wilson. But President finally broke ties with his advisor, Colonel Edward M. House, who acted on behalf of the international banking interest. He realized his mistake. President Wilson remarked, "Unwittingly, I have to ruin my country." Congressman Chase A. Lindbergh Sr. told Congress, "This act establishes the most gigantic trust on earth. When the president signs this act, the invisible government by money power will be legalized. The new law will create inflation whenever the trust wants inflation, and depression will be significantly created." And brethren, it's not that I wanna impress you. You have this, what I will show you, in your pockets. You know this? It's $20. It says, United States of America. What is above United States of America? Federal Reserve note. So you got printing company for our dollar. This was, brethren, in 1976. Now we got 2023. And this is worse and worse and no better. Also, we can see widely that history repeats herself. What was called conspiracy theory becomes in the history true facts. How to ignore it? Satan was active through his human agents. And brethren, not far back, 2008, April, Lehman Brothers went bankrupt. Crash of stock, 20% down. 75% on companies at that time are not in business. 2023, not far ago, in your neighborhood, Silicon Valley Bank, saved by government, only one weekend action over the weekend. Nobody is talking about Silicon Valley. So our salvation is in the kingdom. God encourages faithful people to pray for it. Thy kingdom come, and to watch the signs of the kingdom and times, and they are at the hands. Dear brethren, remember that you have a choice to lean on God, to learn His word, check double or triple what you hear on popular media platforms. Remember to whom they belong. What is the owner's agenda? Through different TV stations, internet, newspapers, we are getting information or misinformation. All depends from who is the owner of that station. And the world events and conditions are changing so quickly, almost day by day, an hour. They are very soon become ancient history. We read in the Bible, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of Son of Man. Luke 17:26. And Brother Russell writes in reprint 4797, the end of the first dispensation and that of this present dispensation are wonderfully similar. The first dispensation, a superhuman influence had entered into the world. Today we have similar condition. Whatever portion of the spirit of truth has entered into evilly disposed human minds, evil condition on gigantic scale have often been produced. When this spirit of knowledge enters into an evil heart, evil will result. This remarkable achievements of our time, the wonderful invention of all kinds, would not have been possible except for the fact that the Spirit of the Lord is abroad in the earth. But the spirit of knowledge in the evil heart has been to produce giants who walk up and down the land and are known in the Brother Russell time as the sugar trust, the coal trust. In our day, CDC, FDA, Microsoft, Amazon, and many, many others. Did you hear about BlackRock? Not so many people knows that, but they have at hand twice more than American budget. The flood destroyed the giants. So, brethren, so at that time, the great cataclysm or trouble will drown all trusts, organization, agencies, individuals which oppress mankind, and they will be destroyed. What should we do? In our Christian life, we have to be participants, not spectators. In the politics, we need to be spectator, not participant. Let us be watchful. Let us be trustful in God's providences. His kingdom is close. May God's will be done. May his kingdom come, and may God add his blessing to these few words spoken. Amen.